Hi, in this video we're going to look at lesson 3, which is about fractions. So here we go. This is the pie graph that we made in the previous video. We had 20 pieces total. Each piece represented one male. Each slice, the color of the slice, represented the kind of transportation that male used. The orange we said was car, and we have that in our key, which is over here. This is our key. We have red for truck, pink for SUV and minivan, and the green for other. Now, what we want to do is we're going to use a numerical way to represent the pieces of the pie. Now, I'm going to color code these so we can see this, but notice that we have, let's see, if I counted my orange pieces here, I have, let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we could say that 13 of the males drive a car. And we represent this by writing 13 over 20. 20, this is total pieces in the pie. The 13, these are the pieces of interest. Let's do interest or group. In this case, that group are those that drive cars. So let's see, let's continue this idea. Notice that if I look at for trucks, I could say that one, and I'll be even more clear this time, one of the 20 males drives a truck. And we can write this as 1 over 20. And you probably know or have seen these, but the review is still always in good order. And that is, when you write a number over a number, we call this a fraction. Let's do another one. Let's see, our pink one, let's take a look at the pink group. So the pink group, we would say, if we count the pink, we have, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, I have 5 pink slices. So I could say that 5 of the 20 males drives an SUV slash minivan. That was that category. And we write that as 5 over 20. And let's see, we have one more. Let's just try this. This one's not a surprise, and we've actually already done it. And that is our number of males that use the other. And we'd say that 1 of the 20 males uses other modes of transportation. And we would, again, just like we had 1 out of the 20 that drove a truck, 1 out of the 20 use other transportation. Okay, now I want to look at this a little closer. Let's take our last one. We used 1/20th. And let's do this. We're going to formalize our fraction in a little bit, or a little bit more. So actually, I need to scoot that over a bit. So I'm going to grab that, move it over. Okay, there we go. So remember, 1 over 20 is our fraction. And the number in the top position we say in general. This is called the numerator, N-U-M-E-R-A-T-O-R. It's called the numerator. And in general, the number in the bottom, in general, we call this number the denominator. And remember, the denominator is simply the total number of pieces in the pie. Denominator, and so we'll even write that. Denominator is total pieces in pi. Okay, now I want to go back, since our picture up above, and we'll return there, our picture up above has got a lot going on, and it's visually difficult for us to keep track of 20. So instead of working with that, let's take a look at a simpler pie. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to make us a simpler looking pie. So again, I've got my cup handy and I'm going to place it about there, and I'm going to draw myself a circle. Remember, this is a plastic cup to write on the iPad, and that little swish, if I try to erase it, it erases my whole circle, so we'll just go with that. Now this time, I'm going to put my dot in what hopefully is exactly the center. And let's do this. Let's draw a line through the center. Now, whoops, not exactly through the center. We want to be right through the center. And let's put it right there. Now, what I want to do this time is I'm going to put my pie into, let's cut this half into 3 pieces. So what I want to do is go right through that center there. Oh, that looked good. And then again from this one, let's go through that center. Right there. Now, let's take a look. I start counting, it doesn't matter where, I'll start counting here. I'll start counting right here. Here's my first piece of the pie. Here's another, that's 2 pieces. That's 3 pieces of the pie. Here's 4. Here's 5. And finally, we have 6 pieces in this pie. So any fraction has the denominator will be 6. Now, let's color some of these. Let's look at some orange pieces. So maybe let's start coloring. I'm going to color this first piece here. Let's color this one orange. Your pictures may look better. They should. Take some time. You can always pause the videos and start them up again. That's the beauty of video learning. Easier to take notes. You don't have to ask the teacher to go back. All right, so let's see those. Let's color those 3 pieces in orange. And then let's take another color. We'll use the pink. So let's do 2 pieces here, pink. And finally, we'll use that. I'll use the red. Sure, let's use the red. And oops, I said 2. I misspoke. I said 2 pieces in pink. I colored 1. So let me keep on coloring in pink. And finally, we had 1 piece that'll be red. Now, let's look at this. If I was to write each of these, notice that the red slice, it represents 1 red slice out of 6. When I look at my orange slices, that's 1, 2, that's 3. So my orange slices are 3 of the 6. And finally, if I take a look at my pink slices, I would say there's 2 of those. There's 6 in the pie, so let's say the pink is 2 of the 6 pieces. Now, there's something here that I think most of us have a good idea of. And let's look at the orange. Notice that when I first drew this picture, I drew this line right here. And that diameter cut the circle into 2 pieces. But wait a minute. That means that each one of those pieces was a half. Well, these 3 pieces here, here, and here, those 3, that was just the 1/2 cut into 3 pieces. So you can visually see, and maybe even instinctually know, that 3/6 is the exact same thing as 1/2. And the question is, how? Because it's not always that easy to see. So what we want to do is we're going to do a little bit of math here. Notice that there's 6 pieces. Well, since we're working on the 3/6, we'll continue in 3/6. So notice that if I said I have 6 out of 6, if I have all the pieces, well, I have the entire pie. And the entire pie is just 1 pie. And this continues for that pattern forever. Say my pie only had 3 pieces in total, and I had all 3. Well, then I would say that I have the whole pie, or 1. Now, let's try something really difficult. Let's try something like 11. That's a hard pie to draw. Let's say the pie had 11 pieces. I had all 11. Well, what is that? That's just 1. And as a matter of fact, that's true in any case. There's a number many of you may have heard of, the number pi. It's written like this. And, oops, let me rewrite that. If I have a pie that's drawn into pi pieces, and I have all pi of those, well, that's the same as the number 1. Now, and it works in algebra. We often say if we have any number n, and I cut a pie into n pieces, and I have all n pieces, well, I have the whole pie. Now, keep this in mind. We're going to go one step further. Let's do this. If I take the number 1 and I multiply it by something like 3, what do I get? Well, the answer is very clear. I get 3. What if I take 1 and I multiply it by something smaller like 2? What happens now? Well, I get 2. And I can continue this. What if I take the number 1 and I multiply it by that pi we have up above? Well, that's just pi. The point is this. Any number multiplied by 1, so in general, if we write any number, we write 1 multiplied by any number n, is very simply that number. So, keeping that in mind, let's return to the initial question. The initial question was, why or how is 3/6 equal to 1/2? Now, we can see this, and you may know the answer, but the idea is to develop something that works in all cases. So here we go. I'm going to take the number right there. Let's take 3 divided by 6. I'm going to write equals. Well, notice that right up above, look at that right here. I said that 3 is equal to 3 times 1. Well, let's take advantage of this. So here we go. I'm going to write that 3 as 3 times 1. And I happen to know that 6 is the same as 3 times 2. Now, think about this for a moment, because what did we say? We said, right up above, we said that 3 over 3 is what? Well, if we look up at our work, we said that's right here. Oh, wow, there it is. 3 over 3 is exactly the same as 1. It just looks different. So let's come over here. Well, this is equal to 1. 3/3 is just 1 times 1/2. And then we spent all of this work in this next section here. Look at all of this. It says that if you just multiply the number 1 by any other number, the result is any other number. And so now I can say that 1 times 1/2 is 1/2. Now, that is what we call reducing or simplifying fractions. Or you could say writing the fraction, fraction in lowest terms. And that's what we just did. We wrote 3/6 in lowest terms as 1/2. Now, let's try this again. Let's take a look at the other pieces of our pie. We had, if I return up above, let me see what else we had in our pie here. Oh, I have pink and I have red. So let's see, our pink was 2/6 and our red was 1/6. So let's come down here and let's see, what about 2/6? Well, let's try. This is 2/6. So wait a minute. Up above, we even said that 2 is the same as 2 times 1. And we said 6 is the same as 2 times 3. We wrote the other order, but it's still the same result. But wait a minute, 2 over 2, we said that's just 1. So this is 1 times 1/3, and we know that 1 times any number, like 1/3, is very simply 1/3. So 2/3 in its lowest terms, oh, whoops, I forgot to write terms up above. In lowest terms. There we go. So, in other words, 1/3 or 2/6 in lowest terms is 1/3. Now we have the truck or our red category. Our red category was 1/6. So if I take 1/6, well, I could write that as 1 times 1. That's still 1, and 6. I want to get a match. Do I have a match with the 1? Well, I could write that as 1 times 6. So if I do that, I have 1 over 1 times 1 over 6. And we said that any number over itself is 1. So that's just 1 times 1/6. But wait, that's just 1/6. So the point of that is very simply that 1/6 is already in lowest terms. Now, the one last thing I wanted to notice is this. Now, notice this. This works out really nicely for us because check this out. The pies are, well, they're supposed to be the exact same size, but they got altered a little. But notice this. If this was a piece of a cookie, or maybe pizza, or whatever your favorite thing is, notice that this piece here, outlined in gray, is definitely bigger than a pink piece when the pie was cut into 20 pieces. And that's just it. So the point of this is this. The more pieces in a pie, the smaller the size of the piece. In other words, notice that there's 6 pieces in our here the denominator will be 6. And in our other one, it's going to be 20. Well, when you compare that, in other words, when as the denominator gets larger, as the denominator increases, as the denominator increases, the size of the slice decreases. We're going to stop there. Now we at least have the understanding of where a fraction comes from and what it represents. In the next video, we're going to take a look at how do we multiply fractions and how do we add fractions. Thanks for watching.